Hey girls, comment, let me know you're here. Hey Kim, I'm just gonna wait for a couple more people to come online before I start. Hey Shell and Judith. Hey Lily. How are you guys today? Hi Tracy. Hi Casey. Okay, well, there's a few of you guys here now, so I'll get started. First of all, just wanted to let everyone know, in case you've missed all the posts in the group, that my new book, Christmas Hearts, is out this week. It is a Christmas novella that takes place after War of Hearts. As I've mentioned in the group, you don't actually have to read this novella before you read Battle Hearts, but this book, the story gives you a bit of a catch up with where the club's at. It's set 4 months after the end of War of Hearts, and it sort of shows you the tension and the stress that everything going on with the club is causing the couples. So I had a lot of fun writing it, and I'm really, really excited about the reviews and that you girls are loving it. Got some more people. I'm good, thanks, Barbara. I'm a bit tired. Jodie's away this week. She went on a cruise with her family for like just over a week. So, of course, I release a book the week that she goes away, and I've had some stuff happening in the back end of my business this week that wasn't planned for, so that was a little bit stressful. So I'm ready for a day off tomorrow, I think. Tracy, I'd love to come back to Shameless one day. Jodie and I had such a fun time in Orlando. I'm just reading through the comments. Oh, thank you, Flora. I'm glad that you loved it. Hi, Victoria. Okay. So, in case you've missed the post in the group, we had a release party yesterday, which was lots of fun. Thank you, everyone, for coming. There's stacks of giveaways in the group if you missed the party. I'm going to leave them open for the rest of the week. If you want to search them, you just need to search the hashtag CHRP. So that just stands for Christmas Hearts Release Party, in case you forget it. And all the giveaways and all the posts from yesterday should come up so that you can go through and enter the giveaways. And Jodie will be back next week, probably next Monday, I think. So when she gets back, she'll draw all the giveaways and start sending out all the prizes. I've also posted a giveaway over on Instagram. Just to find me over there, it's Nina Levine Writer, and it's for any of my paperbacks that you want. So the winner gets to choose whichever paperback of mine they want, and I'll sign it and send it to them. I think, yeah, there's also a giveaway still open on my author page. If you just scroll down a bit, you'll come to that. I've got giveaways everywhere, so I've got to remember where they are. Also, I fucked this chat up. I was reading back through the email I sent out last week, and this chat was supposed to be tomorrow. These time zones and Jodie being away, not good. So I feel like I'll be back in the group chatting tomorrow at the same time, because there could be some people from the email who are going to pop in then. So just in case. I'm just going to read through some of these comments. Have a couple of wines. It would be a good idea at this point, Barbara. Yay, Angela, you're still awake. Thanks, Melinda. I'm glad that you love the book. Oh, thank you, Kim. Crystal, you're upset about how the novella ended. Is that because... Tell me more. Okay, Augusta, I've had a few people asking me about Risk Part 2, and I've got it on my list, so let's do it now. I've been slowly working on Part 2 of this book. Unfortunately, the storm men have been taking over and have been coming to me faster than Owen and Charlize, but I'm definitely still working on it, and it is going to happen. I'm hoping to get it out in the first half of next year. So I'm not sure why. I think sometimes just with writers, some stories just take a back seat in our head while other characters become sort of stronger in our mind. I'm sorry that it's taking so long, but I did love writing that first part, so I'm really looking forward to getting the rest of this book finished. Hey, Christina. Okay. Now, there was a giveaway in the group yesterday for Hurricane Hearts. It was an instant claim ebook giveaway, and I posted it at a really bad time for our UK girls. So I'm going to do another one. And so long as I haven't screwed up these times, it's going to be for our UK girls on the 12th at 9 p.m. So that's tomorrow, my time. So tomorrow your time, I guess. It's going to be 4 p.m. the US, and it's going to be 8 a.m. Australian time, except for Brisbane, which will be 7 a.m. So I'm really hoping some of the UK girls can drop in at 9 p.m. on the 12th and maybe win a book. Okay, my website, I just need to quickly mention this because I've had a few people email me and message me about it. The links on my website for all my books are incorrect because they were Kindle Unlimited links. So I'm slowly going through and updating them. My daughter did tell me that she was going to do it the other day, and then she didn't come through with the goods. So, and because Jodie's away, I'm behind on absolutely everything this week. So it's on my list for this afternoon if I don't nap. So I'm sorry about that. It's very confusing. But if you're looking for my books on any of the sites, just search my name and they will all come up because we're back on all sites now. I've had a few people asking me why I've left KU, and I just want to quickly mention that. It's been about 18 months since I've been KU, longer for some books. And I have a lot of readers on the other sites that have been with me for 6 years. So they have been missing out on those books for 18 months. So I've decided to go back, put my books back on all sites so that the people that have been with me for the longest can actually get them. I'm not sure if I'll ever go back into KU. I'm not someone that never says never. So, I mean, it could happen one day down the track. But at the moment, I'm really focusing on keeping my books wide so that all my readers can get them. Let's see what you've got over here. Oh, thanks, Christina. Say hi to your mum for me. Carla is asking if Bronze is going to get a book. We're going to talk about that today. Angela says, I think you should have big cutouts of all the storm men behind you. You know, Jodie did give me, for Christmas or my birthday one year, a huge poster framed of King's Reign cover, which was my favourite at the time. And it has been up in my office, but I gave up my office a few months ago because it wasn't really productive for me. This is my living room, so I don't really think that my daughter wants King up on the wall of our living room. Hey, Becky. Becky's my editor. Big shout out to Becky. Crystal. So Crystal says she wasn't happy with the ending of the novella because I gave nothing on Fury and Zara, and they consume her brain as much as Nash and King does, which I love. If you read Christmas Hearts, you'll see in the end of it, I'm going to send out a bonus scene to all my email subscribers next week, and it's going to feature Fury and Zara. So you'll get some more Fury and Zara that way, Crystal. Angela, yes, we have a Jaeger bomb date next year, and I'll be by myself, so you have to look after me and make sure I don't crawl home. Okay, let's see what we've got here. Okay, Battle Hearts needs the next book out on the 28th of January. This is more of Winter and Birdie. This series has been written really differently, or quite differently, to the way my other two series have been written. We started off with Hurricane Hearts, which was a standalone, pretty much just a standalone romance with no club stuff in it, because that's the way the story came to me. And then we fast forwarded to War of Hearts, which was set 4 years after Hurricane Hearts. And then it jumped also again another 4 years. So we're now 8 years after the end of King's reign. The time jumps do my head in some days, but that's the way the story is in my head, so that's how I've written it. So Battle Hearts, though, hopefully this won't confuse you too much. I'm going to put a note in the beginning of the book to jog your memory when you start it. It's going to go back in time to when Birdie and Winter started on their journey on IVF, which you'll see, and if you read Hurricane Hearts, you'll know that that's happening. So when we met Winter in Hurricane Hearts, he wasn't, a hardened president yet. So you're going to see that journey that he takes. Now, if you've read Christmas Hearts, I did drop some little hints or clues in his and Birdie's chapter, very subtle, like not clear at all, but if you were like really paying attention while you were reading, you would have picked out this one particular line, and it probably would have made you wonder, what does that mean? And that will be a big part of what happens in Battle Hearts. So you're going to see his journey to club president, all the stuff that happens to the club along the way that hardens him up to make him the man that you've just seen in Christmas Hearts. I'm really looking forward to that. And so there's going to be like their journey towards building a family is a big part of that story. But of course we've got the club war that's happening as well. So that's going to be a huge part of it as well. So 28th of January, it's on all sites. You can pre-order it now, and it won't be going into Kindle Unlimited. So let's talk about what's coming after Battle Hearts. Someone just asked about Serena. Now, they asked about Bronze. But I want to quickly just talk about Serena. If you've read Storm, you'll remember that Serena is Madison's best friend. And I have planned to write her story for 6 years, and I'm finally going to work on it next. So once I finish Battle Hearts, I'm working on her story. Now, you met in King's Wrath or King's Reign, you met a character called Zane Stone. That is who Serena is going to meet. And this will start off a whole new series, which will be a spin-off series from the Storm series. So the Storm men will feature in it because it's got Zane, it's got Bronze, it's got a character called Kim and Roxy. Now, if you've been with me for 6 years, you'll maybe remember Roxy. She did feature in the original Storm series. She was the hairdresser. And Velvet works in her salon. So you're going to see a lot of the Storm couples in this new series. In my head, it's always been called the Stone Security series, but I don't know if that's what it will publish as. But yeah, so I'm really looking forward to writing Serena's story, because if you have met her in Storm, you remember she's a lot like Madison. She's pretty wild and says it like it is. So, and Zane. So originally when I was writing Storm, Zane was actually going to be Madison's guy. But of course, Jay showed up and took over. So Zane has always been super alpha in my head. So I'm like really excited to get back to him. I don't know when that book will be out, but it's what I'm going to be working on after I finish Battle Hearts. And so something else with Bronze. So Bronze's book will be in that series. And I was just thinking about it this morning, and I don't think I ever covered in any of the King's books why King and Bronze, how they started working together, why King and why they have such loyalty to each other. If I did, correct me in the comments, but I don't think I did. So that will come out in Bronze's books, and I can't wait for you to hear that full story, because, I mean, you've met him, you've known him for so long now, and probably wondered how he became a part of the King's world. So, yeah. So there's going to be Liam and Roxy and Axe. Axe will get a book in that series as well. And then there will be a fifth guy, but I'm still fleshing him out, so no news on him yet. Okay, let's see comments. Thank you for all your kind comments, girls. I've now lost, I think I'm at about 24 kilos, so I don't know what that is in American, like, pounds. I think it might be like nearly 50 pounds. Who wouldn't want King in their living room, right? I really think my daughter would not, though. Okay, I'm going to go through some of the questions that you've asked. Okay, I think it was Angela who asked what my favourite book is that I've written, and, like, that's so hard to answer, Angela. Like, that's a shitty question. But I did think about it, and Hurricane Hearts and War of Hearts are probably at the top of my list. Hurricane Hearts, probably because, like, these two books really focus quite heavily on the couple, in my mind, more than the club stuff, which, I mean, I love writing the club stuff. Don't get me wrong there. But just having the time to spend more time with the couples in those books, I really loved writing that. And I loved the angst in them and the tension and the emotion in them. They're probably the two books that I'm most proud of writing, and I would say they're my favourites. Okay, then the book I've wanted to write that I haven't written yet, I would love to write an alpha vampire romance. Think of, like, in my mind, it's like sort of Sex in the City with an alpha vampire. That's the vision that I have. It scares the fuck out of me to write it because I've never had to, like, build a world with paranormal elements in it. But I absolutely love writing, I love reading alpha vampires. So that's one book that I would love to write. And the other book is a book that Jodie challenged me to write a few months ago. She wants me to write her a love triangle book with brothers. And we sat there one day when we should have been doing anything but this, and we started to plot it out. Jodie loves to come to me with her book ideas of what she wants to see in a book, but she can never find in a book. And then she gives them all to me and tells me, just write that for me, okay? And so I actually did come home, like, I was really inspired by what we talked about. And I set up a playlist. I set up a Spotify playlist, a Pinterest board. I started plotting it out. I started writing it. Of course, this was when I should have been writing War of Hearts. So I had to stop work on that. But I think I made them, like, public, like the playlist and the Spotify board, Pinterest board. So, and I think they're called LTB, Love Triangle Book. So let me know in the comments if you love love triangles, because angst, like, I want to write it. So we'll see. And the other book that I would love to write, I always want to write, every time I watch shows like Younger or The Bold Type, I'd love to write a serial with female friends, like real, like sort of centered on the women. Obviously the men are there, but like about the friendships, the drama, life, love, families, all that stuff. I would love to write that as a serial. And I've thought about it so much, I started to plot it out, and then of course I took myself out of it. So if that's something you'd love to see, let me know in the comments as well. Someone asked me if my next books will feature Storm. And I've answered that, yes, they're going to show up in the next series. So, okay, one of the questions that I got was, I didn't write the question down, but it was something about, do any of the characters that I write feature people that I know in any way? So, yes, a little bit. I mean, I don't base any characters completely on people that I know, but there are definitely parts of people. For instance, Evie's dad in Relent is a gambler, and my dad was a gambler. And Mum went through a lot of stuff with, like, I love my dad dearly, but he has an addictive personality. And unfortunately, he's passed it down to me. Anyway, he was a real big gambler. I remember back in the day, I used to work with him for a little bit, and it was nothing for Dad to go and spend $1,000 a day on gambling every day, you know. So those scenes that I wrote with Evie and her dad, like, they really came from personal experience. This is not like a human character, but the cat in Fierce, that whole vet storyline with the cat, and he had an abscess on his face and stuff, that came from personal experience, because one of my cats got into a cat fight and had this huge abscess, and it was awful. So that happened just before I wrote Fierce. Sophia, Jodie heavily influenced Sophia, and in fact, Jodie heavily influences a lot of, not so much like the girls that I write, but some of the stuff that they say. So I can trace in a timeline of my books, whatever the way the girls are speaking, there'll definitely be one or two Jodieisms in every single girl. Whatever Jodie's got going on at that time, I just steal and put it in my books. And my daughter too, like, some of the things that she says often come up in my books. Hayley from Devil's Vengeance was an animal activist, and that was heavily influenced by my daughter. I mean, she's not an activist, but she, at that time, was always on a rant to me about animals in zoos and how bad that is and things like this. So I took that and I put it in my books. And there's also parts of me in some of the characters. Madison, I was working through a lot of anger issues towards an ex in that book. So there was bits of me in Madison. And then there was also bits of me in Harlow. And of course, if you read War of Hearts, you know that Zara's story was inspired by some stuff that I went through in my life. And of course, Lily, single mum, I always wanted to write a single mum. I actually tried to write a single mum for Blade when I wrote Slay, and I got 40,000 words into that book, and I just knew she was all wrong for him. So I just deleted all those words and started again. Of course, when I wrote King's Wrath, I did the same thing. He was originally with a woman called Helena, and again, I wrote about 40 or 50,000 words and realised absolutely wrong woman for King. But I did finally get my single mum written, Lily. So, I mean, I don't have as many children as she does, but there were definitely parts of her that I took from, you know, personal experience. I had a question about Van's book and when I'm going to write that. I'm not sure when I'm going to write that. I'm really looking forward to it though, because it's going to be quite angsty, that story. So these books that I've sort of like talked about writing in the past, I still work on them every now and then, but as I said earlier in the video, there's just always characters that are stronger, so they come through more, and Van's just not coming through at the moment. I had a question about a kids spin-off series for the Storm MC, and yes, one day I do plan on writing the next generation. I'm just working my way towards that. You'll notice, I think it was in War of Hearts, you saw Nash's son, and you'll see more of the families in Battle Hearts as well. But someone also asked if I'll write a novella to catch you up on the original Storm and their kids. I hadn't really planned on doing that, but I mean, I may, or I may just do it through bonus scenes in my Alpha Vault that's on my website that you get access to if you're on my email list. I may end up putting stuff there. I'm also in the process, this is something exciting, I'm in the process of building an app. We're going to have a Storm Girl app, and my vision for the app is that I can use it to release these bonus things that maybe I'm not going to publish, to Amazon or something. I also get really fucking pissed off with Facebook and their we can't put certain things in groups anymore. We can't post stuff on author page. We can't. It's just so much censorship, and I understand why they have it. I truly understand, but it drives me insane. So I'm thinking with the app, once I've got it built, I can put whatever the fuck I want on my app. So I'm excited about when that's going to happen. I'm working on it at the moment. So pray for me, girls, that goes fast. What have we got next? Audiobooks. Someone asked me about audiobooks. Okay, here's the deal with audiobooks. I've been turning down publishing deals for audiobooks since I started because, and then I did actually sign a contract for Steal My Breath and Be the One. So they're on audio. The problem with them is that company, they use narrators who are not Australian. And I went through a lot of narrators with them. They kept sending me samples. I kept rejecting it. And then basically we got to the end of their list of people that they could hire. And so I had to settle for the best out of, in my opinion, a bad bunch. I've had a lot of US readers tell me they don't care, that they still love it. And that's awesome. But as an Australian, I cringe when I hear those voices. I actually listened to an audio of another Australian's book recently. And I'm not lying when I say to you, within the space of a minute, I heard a US accent, a UK accent, Australian accent, and a Kiwi accent as the guy tried to put on an Australian accent. He fucked it up so badly that I could hear 4 different accents. And so that's why I've not done the Storm series in audiobook yet. However, at a signing earlier this year, I met some guys who set up a new audio company in Australia. So I'm getting in touch with them to find out about getting my books put into audio from next year. But having said that, it's a really expensive process. So it's not like suddenly you're going to see 20 Storm books in audio, because that would cost a fortune. But yeah, so I'm working on it because we need King in audio, right? I think I've come to the end of those questions. Let me see what you've got over here. Janelle says she likes love triangles but always feels bad for the one who doesn't end up with the girl. They're not her favorite. Jodie's big thing about love triangles is that because she loves love triangles. If you ever see her, if you ever meet her, just get her talking about love triangles. She'll never shut the fuck up. She says the way most authors write them is that they make one guy, in her opinion, the one that will win. She says she can always pick right from the beginning which is the guy the girl's going to end up with. And so she wants me to write 2 equally, 2 guys that are on equal playing fields, so that the reader can't really sort of predict it completely throughout the story. Maybe that's why I never got very far writing it, because, like, I mean, the pressure was up here with Jodie because she has high standards. I love girlfriend, family love. Yes. Victoria says she loves age gap stories. I've never written one, so Hey Lindsay, I miss you too. I hope you're well. Who was the hardest character for me to write? Krista asked that. I'm trying to think. The hardest character. My mind has gone blank. I know that I struggled writing King's books, but not because of King. Like I said before, it was the woman that I desperately wanted to put in with. And I tried so hard to make her fit. But she was a super strong woman. She was a cousin of Zane Stone. So I've kept all of the deleted words from that, because I do plan on writing her at some point, because I really fucking liked her. You know, I've said it in some parts, maybe yesterday I answered some questions. I can't stand reading, you know, the books where the woman, the female, is like, starts out weak and then grows into herself. I don't really love those types of stories. I don't mind, you know, like vulnerability, and a woman that needs to grow. I mean, because we all do. But yeah, I'm not into reading stories about virgins or doormats, you know. So yeah, I tend to write a lot of really strong girls, and she was super strong. But finding the right man to match her with is going to be the trick, because with King it was too much. I know I had a lot of readers tell me they would have loved to have seen King with a really strong woman, but I tried and it just didn't work. But Krista, I'm not sure who was the hardest character for me to write. I struggled a little bit writing Jet because of what he was going through, because it mirrored what I was going through with my mum and her cancer battle. Who else is in there? Maybe Blade a little bit, because he was the first sort of darker alpha that I wrote. And I work really hard with the alphas to get their dialogue exactly how it has to be. Because when I'm reading a book with an alpha in it, he only has to say one line of dialogue that to me is, and I'm out, the book's gone, I won't read that book. So, and I can't stand books where, I'm not a fan of books where we're told he's an alpha, but we don't see it in his actions. Like, I think it can be much stronger written stronger if it's, you create an atmosphere around that alpha rather than his inner thoughts saying what a badass he is, you know? Anyway, I went off on a tangent there. What else have we got here? Yes, Storm Girl app. I'm so excited for it. I mean, let's hope that it turns out how I envisioned it in my head, because I'm the one building it. So technically that might not work, but I've bought software, it's got a template, and I've seen it in action and it looks really good. So surely I can make it happen. Hi, Kelly. Thank you. Who did I visualize King after? Well, I mean, on my Pinterest boards, you can see different images that I had in my head. And then when I found the cover model, well, that was just him. So I wrote I had the cover before I wrote the story, so I just visualized him constantly all day, every day. Pretty hard job. If someone asked you to suggest just one book of yours to read, which would you suggest? Well, I mean, if it's just going to be one book, it might be hard. Like, you can't sort of pick up a Storm book that's halfway through the series. So at signings, if someone asks me, I generally steer them towards Ashton Scott because he's a standalone. He's alpha as fuck. He's bossy. And if you like that, then you're bound to like my Storm guys. Also, if someone, Hurricane Hearts would be a good one too. Hurricane Hearts, or even War of Hearts, they could probably pick up War of Hearts and start there. Carla says, is Cree going to get a book? I do have plans to write Cree. I'm just not sure if it's going to happen. I really love her character, so yeah, I did intend to match her with one of the bikers that you've already met. So yeah, but at the moment, like I said, after Battle Hearts, I'm going to go into writing the Stone Security series, although it might be called something different by the time it's published. So that's Serena and Zane. There'll be 5 books in that. I've also got to write Risk, and I also have to write my book for the Cocky world. That is with Penelope Ward and Vi Keeland. I always say her name wrong. I'm not sure if it's Vi or V. I think it's Vi. So I have to write that as well. Oh, more comments. Arsehole Monday became your favourite day, Debbie. Janelle says, as a disabled person myself, I don't really see a lot of characters with a condition in books. Would you ever write a book with a character that struggles with issues? Janelle, I would love to. My biggest fear writing books like that is that I would not do the character justice. So I would have to do a shit ton of research. But yes, I think it's important to start branching out more into things that I don't know about. So, which I'm actually doing with Battle Hearts. It's a story about an IVF journey struggle. It's going to be a struggle. And the reason I'm writing this story is I've wanted to write an IVF book for a long time because my brother and his wife struggled to have their child. And just about 2 weekends ago, they were here and we were talking about it. I was asking him a stack of questions, and I was asking Leanne, my sister-in-law, a stack of questions as well, because, you know, I can research the process. I can do research, and I have done research. I've bought books and I've been reading people's accounts of it. But I feel like the more people I talk to and the more research I do, I can get more of an understanding of the emotional journey that is. And goodness, just listen to their story. I mean, this is my brother. I knew kind of his story, but I didn't fully know it because, you know, as someone's going through that, and because they struggled for 7 years with it, it just didn't feel like, I didn't want to sort of stir stuff up, so I wasn't, you know, asking huge amounts of questions at the time. And it turns out, you know, for anyone who is struggling with IVF, after 7 years of struggling through that journey, having multiple rounds of IVF, I forget what they call them, and she was actually told, she was called in and told that they could do no more for her because of all the issues that she had. And then she actually ended up having a hysterectomy later, and they discovered that she had, it's not endometriosis, it's something else called maybe like endometriosis or something. So between, she had fibroids, she had that, my brother, he wasn't supplying good sperm. So there was all this stuff going on. And basically they fell pregnant after they were told they couldn't do any more IVF. Like months later, they fell pregnant naturally. And she managed to carry the baby to term, which she had never been able to do before. And so my niece was born, and they discovered she really was a miracle child because of everything going on. She should never have been able to carry that baby to term. So if you're struggling with IVF, like, miracles happen. Melinda says, can we have a contest on meeting the men on the covers? I would love that. Am I ready for Christmas, Angela? No. Shh. I've bought one present for Jodie so far, and that is the extent of my presents. Clearly, I love Jodie more than anybody. Although my daughter gets presents all through the year. Every time in about November, she wants something, and I'll be like, okay, that's your Christmas present. And then 2 weeks later, can I have this? Okay, that's your Christmas present. Now she tells me, after I bought her 4 things already, that she wants 2 more things. I mean, this is why she needs to update the links on my website. She has to pay for this stuff somehow. Will Scarlett and Walder ever get their story? Yes, they will. They've been in my head for years. I did intend to write them in the Storm MC Reloaded series. And I mean, I still may add it to this series, but I'm not sure that it will fit in because of the way the series went with the timeline. So possibly their story may get put onto the end of the Storm, the original Storm series, or it might just be a standalone. But yes, I will be definitely writing their story one day, because Scarlett, if you've read Scarlett in Command, I love that girl. She's fucking weird, but I love her. So Gina, are you doing any more books on the original Storm? Yes, that one. So Kelly says, what do you think about what do you think about book with a strong girl next door type that is in love with a guy that doesn't see her right away? Kind of like he overlooks her. Then when he does, he has to work hard to get her, but he has to be strong too. Maybe a Storm man. I fucking love that idea. I'm all about that idea. I'm writing that down, Kelly. Debbie says, what about doing an alpha as fuck historical book? No. that is a hard no. Never will I write a historical book. But thank you for the suggestion, Debbie. Just reading everyone's comments about IVF. Yeah, I can't even imagine the heartache. Heather, that might be what it is. I'll have to Google that and have a look. Okay, I think that I've answered all the questions. And I don't think that I have any more questions here that I haven't answered. I'll check back through on the post that I did, and if anyone's put a question in after I wrote them all down, I'll go back and answer it. Sorry, Debbie, but yeah, I mean, I can't even read historical, so I don't think I could write it. But thanks for the idea. So I just want to quickly also say, thank you so much to everyone who has left a review for Christmas Hearts. I really, really appreciate it. And I mean, it makes my day when I see that you guys are really loving that book. Every time that I write a new book, I always get super nervous that you guys won't love it. Like, it'll be the book that you go, yeah, no good. And Jodie always, and because Jodie's my only beta reader, so I only have one. I know many authors have multiple beta readers. I have Jodie and I have Becky, my editor. And if they love the story, then I pray that you girls will love the story. But as Jodie often says to me whenever I'm having a moment of self-doubt, she will say, what does she say? The readers don't know what they want until you give them until you give it to them, something like that. So I loved writing Christmas hearts, but again, I was like, oh my God, what if they hate it? But you guys are loving it, so I'm so happy about that. So thank you so much for leaving reviews. I really, really appreciate it. And, you know, thank you for still being here 6 years after I first published my first Storm book. When I published that book, I didn't see the future. I just saw that I finally wrote a book and I finally finished it and I finally got the balls to publish it. So to be nearly at the end of the third Storm series, like, it blows my mind, and that you guys are still here is everything. Also, the mystery box. I really appreciate the girls that have been receiving their mystery box for not sharing the contents. There has been a couple of people that have sort of submitted a post to the group saying thank you for the box, love the box, and then they put a picture of the contents. I haven't been publishing those to the group because we've still got heaps of girls in the States who haven't received their box yet. So I don't want to spoil the surprise. Once we can see that everyone's received their box, then we'll start publishing those posts that you've been submitting. I was super nervous about this box. For me, it's like releasing a book. I love everything in the box, and particularly because this box had, oh God, I'm going to tear up, had special meaning to me because if you got a box, you'll know what's in the box. So anyway, I'm getting all fucking emotional, not sure why, but I'm just really excited that you guys are loving the box. And thank you so much for getting the box. Okay, that was weird. There's some more comments here. Janie, hey, how are you? Tanya says, what's my favorite Christmas tradition? Well, it used to always be about the food. I mean, who doesn't love the food at Christmas time? Banquets of food. My mum was always a cook, a baker. She loved entertaining. So we used to have huge Christmases with, you know, extended family and all the food. Since this year, and I've been working on my relationship with food, this Christmas is not all about the food. So I'm embracing family and friends this Christmas and just time spent with them. But Christmas traditions, carols on Christmas Eve. That was always the thing. I don't know if you guys do it in overseas, but in Australia we always have like Christmas carols in one of the major cities and they televise it, and so that's always been our thing. At Christmas Eve we always sit down as a family and we watch the carols and sing along and do all that stuff. So Christmas carols, but like it's so hot here in Australia at Christmas. Basically I just want to stay in the cool, you know. And also my other tradition for Christmas Day has always been, you know, after family, after lunch, after everything, a book. You know, my mum used to always give me a book for Christmas, and I used to always, you know, from about sort of 3 o'clock onwards, I would read all afternoon. Sometimes I would even go and sit in the bath and read because it's so damn hot. So yeah, that's traditions. It's the Christmas carols, the food, not this year, and reading. I always love to read Christmas. Yes, Heather, I'm really looking forward to Book Bonanza next year. Jodie's coming with me, so that's going to be so much fun. We'll definitely have to organise a Storm Girl get together. Thank you for all your kind comments. Janelle, the boxes were sent out a couple of weeks ago. So we do plan on doing them every quarter. So we're currently, when Jodie gets back from her cruise next week, we'll be starting to work on sourcing contents for the next box. Okay, guys, I've been rabbiting on for nearly an hour here. And I need to go and eat because I'm starving, talking about food. Thank you so much for coming and chatting with me. Like I said, I'm going to have to come back and do another chat tomorrow because I fucked it up. I fucked the fucking time zones up. This chat was supposed to be tomorrow. So, and then of course I wrote Thursday on my little list of things I've got to do this week. I wrote Thursday, but that was US time. And then when I read it yesterday, I wrote Thursday. Okay, Thursday, we're doing a chat. And then today I was like, oh, in tiny print underneath it, it says Friday, Australian time. Anyway, so I'll be back tomorrow for another chat. So drop in if you're awake, if you're around. But thank you so much for coming and chatting. And if you've got any more questions, just comment with them and I'll catch up with them later. Okay, thanks. And thank you for grabbing Christmas hearts this week and loving it. See ya.